All right, students, welcome to your official first quiz review video. So what we do here is I'm going to go through each problem, I'm going to work them out, explain how I'm working them out, so that you can check your answers and answer any questions you may have, and maybe pick up a few new skills before the quiz tomorrow. Now this is a long review, it's more questions than usual, so we're going to get right into it. First, 6 problems say simplify the following. Now simplify just means combine like terms. We need to make sure that we follow our rules of PEMDAS before we start doing that. So the first thing we're going to do on this first one is to distribute. These first few items are going to come straight down. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Then we're going to look for like terms, in this case 3x. Actually it has no correct term. Sorry. The negative 14 and the negative 6 are my like terms. X and y are different. Even I know that. So the 3x is going to come straight down because it does not have a partner. The 2y is also going to come down because it has no partner. Negative 14 minus 6 is going to be negative 20. Now, when you get to this point, you want to look at the question and think, are these things all different? And yes, x, y, and a number are different. Okay. Next step. Remember, on number 2, we have a negative in front of a set of parentheses, so we're going to put a 1 right there, just to remind us that's what's happening. And then we're going to distribute that one as well. Nothing needs to happen at the front end because these are just by themselves. Negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. Negative 1 times 5y is negative 5y. Now in this case I do have a couple of pairs of like terms. We'll do x's first so we can do it alphabetically. So I have plus 2x here and a minus 3x here. 2 minus 3 is going to be negative 1 or negative x. Okay. I also have a 10y here and a minus 5y here. 10 minus 5 is going to be 5y, positive, plus 5y. Again, 2 different variables means that this is complete. Next problem, we are going to multiply 3 times 3x and 3 times 4. 3 times 3x gives us 9x. 3 times 4 is 12. The minus 10 does not need to be multiplied because it's outside of the parentheses. We do still need to look for like terms. 9x does not have a partner, but these numbers can be combined. So I have 12 minus 10. 12 minus 10 is 2. So my correct answer here is going to be 9x plus 2. Alright, on to the next row. We've got parentheses all over the place. So here I have 2 sets of parentheses with nothing in front of them, so I'm going to put 1s in front just to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to. So 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 4x is 4x. Okay. Then we're going to say negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 6. Multiply negative times a negative, you get a positive 6. Okay, then we're going to look for our like terms. I have 4x's here. I have a negative x right here. 4x minus x is going to give me 3x's. Then I have a 2 here. It's positive. And I have 6 more over here. 2 plus 6 is going to give me positive 8. So there's my correct answer. Next step here is to multiply. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Negative 3 times negative t. Negative times negative gives me a positive 3t. Next one has nothing in front of it, so I'll put a 1. 1 times 2t is plus 2t. 1 times negative 6 is a minus 6. Now we're going to look here for like terms. I have positive 3t. I have 2 more t on this end right here, which gives me 5 of those t's altogether. Then I continue looking for like terms. I have negative 12 here and a negative 6 here. Negative 12 minus 6 more is going to give me negative 18. Okay, so far, so good. Now the next one, we have a fraction in the front of it. The fraction, as we talked about before, has a 1 on the top. So when you have a fraction with a 1 on the top and you're multiplying it times something, it's basically the same as dividing by the denominator. So I'm going to do this right here. Give me 12x over 3 plus 6 over 3. And there's a minus x that is outside of the parentheses, so we just sits on the outside. Now before I combine like terms, I'm going to simplify both of these fractions. 12x divided by 3 is going to give me 4x, and 6 divided by 3 is going to give me 2. That minus x comes in at the end. Not complete yet because we do have like terms here. There's a 4x. We're taking one of those away. Minus 1 gives me 3x plus 2. That is my complete answer. Alright, now we have about 10 more problems to do. These are all going to be more complicated, so it's going to take a minute to get through them. But we're solving now. Okay, I'm going to show you using the do and undo chart. I'm going to go fairly quickly through these so we can make this video not too long. So remember, don't call me after midnight, distribute, combine like terms, move the x's to one side, add and subtract, multiply, divide. These last two we use the do and undo chart in class, but if you don't need that, that's fine. These first couple ones are super important though. Distribute first, then combine like terms, continue solving. So I'm going to distribute. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 3x is 6x, equals 20. When I look at my do and undo chart, look at what's happening to x. Well, it's being multiplied by 6, and we are adding 2. So I'm going to subtract 2 and divide by 6. Start from the bottom, go to the top. First step is to subtract 2 from both sides of the equal sign, which gives me 6x equals 18. Okay, the next step is going to be to divide both sides by 6, which is going to give me x equals 3. Next step, I've got a 3 and then a minus sign and some parentheses. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 in front of those parentheses so I can distribute this properly. Okay, the 3 has nothing to distribute. Negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. Negative 1 times positive 4 is negative 4. And then we have an equals 17. So that's distribute. Next we're going to combine like terms. Well, I have a 3 here and I have a minus 4 here. 3 minus 4 is minus 1. So I'm going to have negative 3x minus 1 equals 17. Now I would go to my do and undo chart now that it's simplified. Okay, looking at the side with the x's, going down PEMDAS, the first thing I see is times negative 3. So I'll divide by negative 3. The second thing I see is minus 1. So I'm going to add 1. Starting at the bottom, going to the top. Plus 1 gives me negative 3x equals 18. Okay, that's done. The second step is to divide by negative 3 on both sides. So I'm going to do that. Make sure that you divide by negative 3 and not just 3. So this is going to cancel out here and leave me with x equals negative 6. And you can always check your calculator to make sure that's correct. The next step here is number 9. We have some distribution at the beginning. So 6 times y gives me 6y. 6 times 2 gives me 12. Minus 4 equals 20. Okay. Now, I've distributed. I'm going to combine like terms. That's a 12 here and a minus 4 here. That gives me a total of 8. Plus 8 equals 20. Okay. I'm going to look at my do and undo. Go down PEMDAS. I see that we're multiplying times 6. So I'm going to divide by 6. And I also see that we are adding 8. So I'm going to subtract 8. Start from the bottom, go to the top. So we're going to subtract 8 from both sides first, which will cancel out, leave me with 6y equals 12. Done. Second step is to divide by 6. Divided by 6, divided by 6, which will cancel here. 12 divided by 6 is 2. There's my correct answer. Next problem. We have some fractions. Now this one's kind of ugly, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it. And this is something we didn't get a chance to talk about in class, so we might talk about tomorrow before we go to working on this problem. Now I told you fractions we want to get rid of as much as possible, turn them into division problems. The unfortunate thing about this one is that the x is sitting outside of the fraction, but one of the things that you can do, if that's the case, is the x, if it's outside of the fraction, it is always on top. So I'm going to change this to 2x divided by 3 minus 3. Those are equal. Okay, don't push the x to the bottom. You can only push the x to the top. Okay, that makes it a little bit easier to work on, but you need to know that. Okay, so my next step here is to go through my do and undo because everything else is fine. Looking at that side of the equation, we are multiplying times 2, so we'll divide by 2. We are dividing by 3, so we'll multiply by 3, and we are subtracting 3, so we're going to add 3. So these are my 3 steps, bottom to top. Okay, so we're going to add 3 to both sides, plus 3, plus 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. Over here it cancels, gives me 2x over 3 equals 4. That's done. Second step is to multiply by 3 on both sides. Let's do that. Okay, 3 times 4 is 12. Over here it cancels out, which leaves me with just 2x. That's done. Last step is to divide by 2. Divided by 2, divided by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. On the right hand side it cancels, and 6 equals x. I'm going to take a quick break right now and pause this video so it doesn't get too long, and we'll continue it on another video.